Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Radiant Light. It is Sunday, November 20th. It's our Gratitude Sunday, and it's the beginning of our holiday celebration. I'm so excited to start this holiday celebration with you all this morning. I'm Reverend Cherie Ruffo. I always look forward, to this service because it's a great way for us to say thank you for all the amazing, amazing things that we have in our life. But it's also that gateway to the holidays and all the celebrations we have coming. And it's our, at our holiday events, we celebrate Advent every week. We have our blue service to honor those who have made their transition. Christmas Eve ceremony, New Year's Day, we have meditation, peace meditation, world peace, burning bowl, and then a 12-hour ceremony. So it's many weeks of just celebrating basically all the good that we have in our lives. And I just think, and I love the fact that we start with gratitude and then hold it throughout the holiday season. And when I think about Thanksgiving, and I think about our Gratitude Sunday, what that means, to me, it really is gratitude in action. It's not gratitude that we're thankful for this one day. It's gratitude in action in our lives, every day of our lives. I'm grateful. I started today with thinking about all the things I'm grateful for, and I'm grateful for Unity Radiant Light. That it can show up in the world this way, that we have a virtual world, and we're no longer bound by state lines and just the geographical area, that we can celebrate with so many beautiful souls each week between the Sunday service, the volunteering, and the classes. I'm grateful to each one of you beautiful souls. You light up my life and give so much. And I just want you to know how grateful I am to you. And I'm grateful that I found unity in my life, because unity is a practical approach to spirituality and gratitude. And it's an important part of my life. And the thing that really attracted me at the beginning, because it wasn't just about coming to Sunday service. It was about learning a practical lesson that I could use every day in my life. That's one of the things that really drew me in. And I love how with unity too, that all paths lead to God. We honor every belief system, because we know that it is God, part of God, as God, and leads us on that road right straight to God. And it's not just the ones that we agree with that we honor. It's all spiritual paths. So we look to the heart and the faith. We respect it. That's part of gratitude. And we recognize that the origin of everything on this planet is love. It may not always show up looking like that, but that's the origin. We come from the substance of love, and nothing can ever change that. So it was when I was in 1989, a long time ago, and heading to go windsurfing in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii at the time, and I found Unity of Hawaii on the site of Diamond Head. I walked in and I knew that there was something very different. I had spent my life what I called chasing God, which we know God is within and as us. But at that point, I called it chasing God, because I was looking for a place that I resonated with. I walked into this church that didn't look like a church. It was open, all the doors, there were doors everywhere. It just opened up to the beauty of Hawaii, overlooking the ocean and the city. And I felt that love. And when I started hearing the lesson, I knew that I had a lot in common. They even quoted, and the minister back then even quoted Wayne Dyer that day, and who was one of my favorite authors, spiritual leaders. And I knew, wow, this is a place where I'm going to learn, because we resonate together. So I'm very grateful for unity and for the unity movement. And I realized too, I was celebrating that day too, because I realized I think that was probably the first time that I heard a book quoted, an author quoted for something good in church. Usually it was, you're not supposed to read this, burn it or whatever, but I knew that unity was coming from a completely different approach. And what I was really fascinated by in unity too was the 5 basic unity principles, because they were so simple. They are so simple. We can build our life around that. And we know with the third unity principle, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. That is when I realize that we co-create, we create our lives because God is within us. So we're a part of this. It's about decisions that we make. And then our greatest power really is free will. We may not always consciously choose what's happening in our life, but we have a choice of how we're going to react to it. We have a choice of how we're going to feel about it. We have the choice about what we're going to do about it. And that is great power. We can even go as far to say we're the architect of our life. We're self-made, sort of, because we're part of oneness, but that's a whole other talk. But for the purposes of this, we can make those choices. So many people can say, well, I like the life that I've made for myself. I mean, others may not be so happy with the life they've made for themselves. But what we can all say is we can change it. We can change. And with these simple teachings, we can do that. We know that we can transform our lives into something that we're happy with. And that's not the best part. Because when we can individually transform our lives, we're transforming the planet. Because we are part of this oneness. Everything that we do, reflects on, and the ripple goes out from us. The feeling of it. And even just having conversations with each other, our friends and neighbors, our family, especially over the holidays at the holiday table, what we say, what we do, what we feel can change everything around us. So we have a choice. As we think about this on Gratitude Sunday, our choices, we have a choice. We can sow seeds of wisdom. We can sow seeds of truth. About seeds of joy, seeds of peace, seeds of love, and seeds of prosperity in every area of our lives and the lives around us. How amazing is that? That's a choice that we get to make. And when we do this collectively in the world, we can choose transformation instead of chaos. It's up to us. And we know the world does have has chaos right now. But what we do can change that. I love that we have that much power. We can be grateful for what we have right now. Oprah said the single greatest thing you can do to change your life today would be to start being grateful for what you have right now. And the more grateful you are, the more you get. We can start right where we are. We don't have to change something to move to gratitude. We can start right now. And when we do that, we're following that fifth unity principle. That it's not enough to think about and know something. We have to live it. It becomes a lived experience. So we can do that. It's not always the easiest thing, especially when we get into, families and relationships and everything, but we can make that choice. And even if we veer off, we can come back to center with it and say, no, this is my intention. This is what I'm going to do. Because sometimes it can be a struggle to express gratitude when people might offend or annoy us. Or know how to push our buttons, as we head to the holiday dinners and parties. But when this happens, if we can remember to move to gratitude, we can shift. We can shift our thinking, we can shift our lives, and more importantly, we can shift everything around us by what we say next. So it's more important that we look good. It's more important that we look good in the people that look for good in the people that upset or annoy us than the ones that we are easy to have gratitude over. If someone really can, be that sandpaper on your soul or rub you the wrong way, that's what's important, to stop and say, how can I find gratitude for this? Maybe just have gratitude that you didn't say what you think you wanted to say to them. You feel good about that, right? But it's not only about helping them shift, it's about helping us shift. And even if they don't respond to our to our gratitude or our change, it doesn't matter because it's about what we're doing internally and it's about our shift. So how about trying this on Thanksgiving? At our Thanksgiving, I'm going to be with my parents and my sister and her boyfriend and my parents' friends this year in Prescott, Arizona. And they're going to ask me to do the blessing, opening blessing. And I usually do it about things I'm grateful in the world. But this year, I'm going to make a shift on that. I'm going to make statements about what I'm grateful for each person at that table. You see how that shift goes from being way out in the external, bringing it back and helping shift everybody there. And then at the end, I'm going to ask them, that they for what they want to say. And it's subtle, it's a big shift, but I think it's going to go well. So as a minister, I spend time with people at people's side during some of the most joyous times in their lives, through weddings and baptisms and celebrations, but I also spend time with them at some of the most painful times in their lives. We had a congregant who held a prayer service for his sister and invited all of us to come in to pray, and we holding her in health, and she was there, and it was so touching. It was probably one of the times of this year that's probably touched me the most. And because people were there from all parts of her life, from different religions, but from every aspect. And at one point, he asked each person if they wanted to say something. And what they did in that moment is what will change me forever. Is they told her what they appreciated about her. And they did it in a way with gratitude, in a way of love. That was one of the most healing moments that I've seen in all the things I've done since I've become a minister or before. And you could see the healing it had for her. And I thought about it afterwards. I thought, why do we wait until a celebration of service, a celebration of life, service, to say how much we appreciated someone? Why don't we do it now? That's the healing part of it. They get, after they've made their transition, they're not there in their bodies to respond, but now they can. And when we can do that, we can move into one of the most healing moments for them and us that we'll ever have. So that's going to be one of my new intentions. Another way to put gratitude in action is to value our individuality. I know we say we're all in one group, but we are individual sparks, individual essence of God. So we're here having these individual experiences. And really, let's face it, the world would be a boring place if we were all the same. So valuing the individuality a person has and what we appreciate about that. We all show up differently in every area of our lives. Have you noticed that we don't think the same? Have you noticed that we have different dreams, different goals, different jobs? Have you noticed that we don't vote the same? And that was one that just happened recently, right? So a lot of times with that, because of the differences, we go to criticize somebody, we judgment, just because the person doesn't think the same way that we do. Because we think that if someone thinks like us, it's naturally going to be the right way. But in this gratitude and action, if we take a step back from that and say, wow, I need to listen, and listening is a huge part of gratitude. Listen to what they have to say, appreciate it. We'll go a lot further for peace in the world. So instead of trying to make each other over, how about we move to appreciation for the differences, for who we are? One of my favorite quotes of Charles Fillmore is, I reserve the right to change my mind. And what he's saying with that is that he understood that we evolve as people, that one of the, in each area of our life, as we go through life, we don't stay the same. And if we do, we have to question why that's so, because that means we're not growing. One of the areas in the last few years of my own life that I felt this is training in racial equity and inclusivity. And, and I thought before all of the training started, my thoughts were, yeah, I'm good. I'm pretty good in this area. I don't, I'm not prejudiced, all these things. But as I went through the training, I began to understand I'm not, I'm good as from the perspective of a white middle class woman. That's where all my thoughts are coming from. But when I'm talking to somebody who might be of a different race, might be of different sexual preference, might have differences of whatever it is, I'm thinking as a white middle class woman. I'm not thinking about it from their perspective. So I've learned I have to listen and really listen and see it, because I'm not going to walk a mile in their shoes. As much as I may want to, it doesn't happen that way. So it's only when I deeply listen to what someone's saying that I can understand where they're coming from. And it changes my perspective and it helps me to evolve. So as I've gone through reading books and talking to people, I've had to change a lot of the shift from a lot of the beliefs that I had as I was growing up, because those are radically different. Even though I was born into the 60s, which was a little bit of a crazy time too, the belief systems, my belief systems are radically different. What I've finally come to understand is that it's my lived experience that I'm having, and also people are having their own lived experience that we can share with each other. Not to make a person right or wrong, but to come to a place of respect, come to a place of, wow, I didn't look at it that way, and have gratitude that I can have a new perspective from somebody else's point of view. And then I can put my best foot forward on every issue and prepare to change. I reserve the right to change my mind, just like Charles Fillmore. And even though some conversations that we may have can be uncomfortable, that's okay too. We can be grateful because it gives us the opportunity to put our gratitude in action by becoming teachable, being vulnerable with each other, and being open to the fact that I might have been wrong. And quite often I find out that I was. So another way that we can put gratitude in action is to show up and do our work in the world. What is your work? What is it for you to do? We shouldn't be separate our work from our spiritual life. And I'm not saying that you need to go to work tomorrow and read the scriptures to people. I'm talking about how we show up, about that fifth unity principle, that we need to live it. Because we can live our principles, we can show our spirituality, and we can do this in what we do and how we show up in the world every day through compassion, integrity, honesty, inclusion. How about fairness? Jesus did that when he said, judge not and you will not be judged, condemn not and you will not be condemned, forgive and you will be forgiven, give and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. The measure you give will be the measure you get back. And what he was talking to merchants that he saw on the streets, and he had seen that some of them might put their thumb or their hand down on a scale when they were weighing something for a customer and adding to the price. And he was saying, don't be dishonest. Have compassion, approach it with a different perspective, and you'll receive that back. Wise words. So I've come to believe that our consciousness can show up in everything that we do. I believe that with everything that I am, with everything that I do. And what would the world look like if we did this collectively? I often think about that. I often think about, wow, how would things change? And we're starting to see it. We hear on the news all the bad things that are happening. But as we'll have in the good news group after today, we'll see the good things that are happening. I read nice news, and I love that because I see all the good things that are happening. But as a group, as we move into mass consciousness, what would it look like? That's what I want to see. So putting gratitude in action is how we show up in the world, also, and how we treat this planet, this beautiful planet that we call our home. If we can use gratitude to make the planet a better place to live in, when we make our decisions every day on how we're going to even dispose of our garbage, our recycling, remember that the planet responds to that too, because remember what happened during the pandemic. Just by us stopping, slowing down, it didn't take very long. The planet changed. It cleared up. The environment did. What a difference. So the choices we make every day impact the planet, all the people that live on it, all the animals, and everything that we do. So the question becomes, are the choices I'm making best for me and for the entire planet? I have to ask myself that. It's not just about me. So putting gratitude in action impacts everything, even how we spend our time, our talent, and our treasure. We talk about that in prosperity all the time. But we all have something we can give to others, whether it's through a donation, our time, or we have a gift that we just want to share. It all goes back to the same thing. It's gratitude in action. And what we're saying is that when we do this, is that we have enough. So we're moving from scarcity, there's a lot of scarcity mentality, to this prosperity consciousness of, I have so much I'm going to share, and I'm so grateful for it. I can share it with others. This is giving with gratitude in action. Khalil Gibran says, you give but little when you give of your possessions. It's when you give of yourself that you truly give. Wow. People often say to me, well, I don't have anything to give because I don't have any money. It's about what you give. It's about what you share. It's about how you show up in the world. I mean, donations are great, and tithing is wonderful. It helps us do what we do here at Unity Radiant Light. But it's the whole package. So the choices that we make every day impacts the entire planet. We literally stand on the shoulders of giants. Isaac Newton said, if I have seen further than others, it's by standing upon the shoulders of giants. It's by standing upon those who came before us. And it's not just about standing on the shoulders of the people who came before us who made all the right decisions. It's also about reviewing some of the things that we've done in the past and changing and making right decisions now. It's about learning from that, not in a judgment way. It's just about showing up better in the world, making us a better place to be. We can actually learn from what people have taught us. Can we look to those in our lives who may have thrown stumbling blocks in our way? What are the times that you've had, the hardest times you've had in your life? There was often somebody else involved, right? It might be an illness that shook us to the very core, or to the inequities that keep us from doing what we want. Each of these things have helped us grow to a greater capacity for faith, courage, and understanding, and to make good changes in the world. The people that have made the biggest changes have often made the greatest sacrifices. I love what Carl Sagan said. If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. Now, I like to cook. Most of you know that. And I always say I cook from scratch. And I'm proud of that. But when you think about what he's saying is, no, nothing is from scratch because it comes from someplace else. Everything that shows up is from somewhere else. This is a way to keep us intellectually humble. And as I'm making an Italian apple pie today, I'm going to think about that, it's not my from scratch apple pie, that it came from stardust, other people, planets. There are so many people involved. So I can take pride in what I accomplish, but I have to make sure that I keep my gratitude in place and recognize that I didn't do it alone. And Brene Brown says there's no joy without gratitude. And this is the holiday supposedly for joy. We have to really start here with the gratitude. So can we make a decision to spend the holidays at least by waking up each day with the intention to celebrate, not criticize each other's differences or each other's individuality, but to listen to others' lived experiences and to remember that I decided to fall in love with my life as it is. That's attitude in action from our friend Abraham. So have a wonderful beginning of this holiday, the holiday season. I look forward to sharing many lessons with you. Namaste.